క్లీన్ వస్తుంది స్టార్ట్ అయింది. ఇది ఓపెన్ చేయండి, డిమాండ్ చేశాను కదా మీరు స్లైడ్ షో.
So, in the previous class, I was talking about epidemiology and management of iron deficiency anemia, and now in this class I am going to talk something about fluorosis and Lathyrism. Now fluorosis is not either due to undernutrition or due to overnutrition of dietary intake. Strictly speaking, water is not considered as a nutrient or a diet. It is essential, very much essential, as essential as a diet. But it is part of the diet also, but it is not considered as a nutrient. So, the water in its natural state consists of several minerals. One among them is fluoride. This fluoride is nothing but the derivative of the derivative of the geological strata, the rock formations that are present in the geological strata. They get dissolved in water, and so water gets fluoridized. So in certain areas, the geological strata may be deficient in fluoride, and in certain areas, the geological strata may be having excess of fluoride. So this is not but either deficiency or the excess of fluoride causes problems, health problems. So these are the problems about which I am going to talk. In fact, not much is talked about fluorosis, but in this class I want to talk in detail about fluorosis and another problem what we call as Lathyrism. So now recommended level of fluorides in drinking water in India, it is 0.5 to 0.8 milligrams per liter. Dental fluorosis occurs. There are two varieties of fluorosis. One is dental fluorosis and second is skeletal fluorosis. So dental fluorosis occurs when the fluoride level is more than 1.5 milligrams per liter, and skeletal fluorosis occurs 3 to 6 milligrams per liter. And crippling fluorosis occurs about 10 milligrams per liter. Fluorine deficiency causes fluorine deficiency, that is below 0.5 milligrams. That causes dental caries. So dental fluorosis, children living in high fluoride zone are bound to get dental discoloration. It can be seen even in deciduous teeth. That is even in the children also. There may be discoloration of teeth, and then even when these teeth fall off, the fresh teeth which the children acquire also will have fluorosis. Initially, glistening white teeth become dull and yellow white spots. Dull and yellow white spots appear on the surface of the teeth. Gradually, these spots turn brown and presents itself in brown streaks, which are closer to the tip of the teeth. In late stages, the whole teeth becomes black. Teeth may be pitted or perforated and may even get chipped off. In endemic zones, people lose their teeth at an early age and may become edentate, that is, losing of teeth. So now you can see moderate effects of fluoridated water. Arrows point to the discolored, cracked or pitted areas. I think you are able to appreciate, especially on the right side. The pitted areas are there and discoloration is there, and then cracked areas also are there. Everything you can see in the almost all in everywhere they are very visible and very clear. So degrees of dental fluorosis very mild to mild, slight mottling of the teeth. That is, enamel loses its shine and certain areas of dullness appear on the teeth. The moderate is obvious mottling of the teeth. That is, many teeth get mottled and some of them develop somewhat yellowish discoloration. That is called as moderate. And now severe mottling of the teeth, that is, the teeth become brown to black. And the lower teeth are yellowish, you can see. And the upper teeth in the lowest diagram. So skeletal fluorosis, it affects young as well as old. The symptoms include severe pain and stiffness in the backbone, joints and or rigidity in the hip bones. Here at the very outset, I would like to mention that it is not just water alone is the culprit. In fact, the same water is used for cultivation of the soil, cultivation of foods, and even the same water with a high fluoride content, it goes into the cattle fodder. So the milk becomes excessive. Milk contributes to the fluorosis. And then the food people eat fluorosis, and if they won't eat sufficient food also, undernutrition itself also contributes to fluorosis. So once, I am talking about skeletal fluorosis, I am not talking about dental fluorosis. So it affects young as well as old. The symptoms include severe pain and stiffness in the backbone, joints or rigidity in the hip bones. X-ray examinations of the bones reveals thickening and high density of bones. In some patients with calcium deficiency, osteomalacia type changes are seen. And in the constriction of a vertebral canal and intervertebral foramina, pressure on nerves leads to paralysis. So this is some classical skeletal fluorosis cases. Our Nalgonda district in Telangana state, Nalgonda, Khammam and Warangal districts, all these districts, they are endemic to fluorosis. Certain areas. Those areas who predominantly depend upon bore wells for drinking water. There it is very common. Photograph showing skeletal fluorosis present and radiograph of a patient of skeletal fluorosis. You can see very clearly, very obvious. Non-skeletal fluorosis. In the fluorosed muscles, actin and myosin filaments are destroyed and mitochondria lose their structural integrity, thereby providing evidence of depletion of muscle energy. So the erythrocyte membrane loses its calcium content in presence of high fluoride. So non-ulcer dyspeptic complaints are manifested by consuming high fluoride in water. Non-ulcer dyspeptic complaints. And the erythrocyte membrane loses its calcium content. So infertility due to oligospermia and azoospermia is commonly seen in fluorotic belts. So these are certain non-skeletal fluorosis aspects. In the fluorosed muscles, actin and myosin filaments are destroyed and mitochondria lose their structural integrity, thereby providing evidence of depletion of muscle energy. And the erythrocyte membrane loses its calcium content in presence of high fluoride. And the non-ulcer dyspeptic complaints are manifested by consuming high fluoride in water. And infertility due to oligospermia and azoospermia is commonly seen in fluorotic beds. So this is non-skeletal fluorosis. So diagnosis, UNICEF's clinical test. This is about with reference to skeletal fluorosis. 3 simple clinical tests: forward flexion of spine, chin to chin test, and hands on the occiput test. Person with skeletal fluorosis cannot perform these activities which many of us can do with ease. Chin to the chest, ask him to put his chin to the chest, he will not be able to do. Hands on the occiput chest, he will not be able to do. And then forward flexion of the spine, he will not be able to do. This is how you will be able to diagnose clinically, because after all it is not possible to go for assessment of fluoride either in the water which he is drinking or in his urine. So test for skeletal fluorosis, coin test. The subject is asked to lift a coin from the floor without bending the knees. A fluorotic subject would not be able to lift the coin without flexing the large joints of lower extremity. And then chin test. The subject is asked to touch the anterior wall of the chest with the chin. If there is pain or stiffness in the neck, it indicates the presence of fluorosis. Now stretch test. The individual is made to stretch the arm sideways, fold at elbow and touch the back of the head. When there is pain and stiffness, it would not be possible to reach the occiput, indicating presence of fluorosis. So community fluorosis index. What is this? WHO monograph on fluoride and human health has enumerated the use of community fluorosis index in determining the optimal fluoride intake. The community fluorosis index is a way of measuring the burden of dental fluorosis in a population. Instead of measuring the overall prevalence of fluorosis, that is what percentage of people have fluorosis, it takes into account the severity of the fluorosis that is occurring. So the community fluorosis index is the measurement of both prevalence plus severity. An individual's fluorosis score is based on the most severe forms of fluorosis found on 2 or more teeth. So normal enamel 0, that is it is scoring system actually. Fluorosis score, please note this point. So this slide pertains to fluorosis score and normal enamel 0. Enamel smooth, glossy, pale, creamy white, translucency. Questionable fluorosis 5.5. Slight aberrations from translucency with occasional white fleck or spots. And very mild fluorosis. Small opaque paper white areas involving less than 25% of the surface of the 2 most affected teeth may acquire brown stains in adulthood. Mild fluorosis. So weightage is 2. More extensive dull white opacities involving less than 50% of the surfaces of the 2 most affected teeth. Say previously what is this? Very mild fluorosis. Small opaque paper white areas involving less than 25% of the surfaces of the 2 most affected teeth may acquire brown stains. So more extensive dull white opacities involving less than 50% here of the surface of the 2 most affected teeth. And now moderate fluorosis, all enamel surfaces affected, distinct brown staining frequent. And then severe fluorosis, teeth show marked hypoplasia, attrition and pitting, brown or black staining or black staining widespread. So these are the scores. So now what is community fluorosis index? The questionable fluorosis, the CFI is calculated based on the following point scale for the different categories of dental fluorosis. So questionable fluorosis 0.5 points, very mild fluorosis 1 point, mild fluorosis 2 points, moderate fluorosis 3 points, severe fluorosis 4. After determining how many children have these types of fluorosis, these points are added up and divided by the number of children examined. That becomes community fluorosis index. Scores and their significance. 0 to 0.4 significance of scores negative. 0.4 to 0.6 borderline. 0.6 to 1 slight. And 1 to 2 medium. That is in the community the problem. If scores are below 0.4 then it is negative. that community is not having fluorosis problem. 0.4 to 0.6, the problem is borderline. So the 0.6 to 1, that community is having slight problem of fluorosis. So 1 to 2, medium fluorosis. That community has fluorosis in that community is at medium level. 2 to 3, that is marked. So 3 to 4, very marked. Only when CFI value is greater than 0.6, fluorosis is considered to be a public health problem in that area. Please remember, it is not only confined to Nalgonda district or the most of the areas in Deccan Plateau, covering nearly 20 crores of population. There, this community fluorosis index is either slight or medium, marked or very marked. In Nalgonda, in certain taluks, especially Devarakund taluk and Nalgonda taluk, this problem is marked. Prevention. Since the major sources of fluoride is drinking water, defluoridation is the best preventive measure which can be carried out at domestic as well as community level. Nutritional interventions like high intake of vitamin C and calcium also helps to reduce the problem. It is not only vitamin C and calcium. I would say food gap. I am very fond of telling this, undernutrition. That has to be adequately addressed to. So now how to defluoridate the water? Nalgonda technique. Adopted and developed in India by the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, which is located in Nagpur, and developed to be used at both community and household levels. The process is aluminium sulfate based coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, where the dosage is designed to ensure fluoride removal from the water. Defluoridation. Precipitation methods are commonly used for defluoridation. Lime treatment, routinely used for hardness removal, can remove fluoride, particularly when water is having high magnesium hardness. Alum is used at domestic level in high doses to remove the fluoride. In India, scientists have developed a method known as Nalgonda technique, which is based on the amount of fluoride in the drinking water and alkalinity of the water, expressed as magnesium calcium carbonate. So, amount of alum to be mixed with water is carried. Resin and other filter beds are also available, filtering through which reduces the amount of fluoride in water, but this is a very expensive procedure. So here, this is the the fill and draw type of Nalgonda technique for domestic and community defluoridation. So this can be used for domestic as well as. So unless and until you have that plant, so these are different things, and there alum is mixed, and then the filtrate is after. How does fluoride treatment prevent tooth decay? Human teeth are primarily composed of the mineral calcium hydroxyapatite. So calcium hydroxyapatite has the chemical formula CaPO4 OH2, so on and so forth. One of the main components of this mineral is the hydroxy ion. So fluoride substitutes for the hydroxy ion, producing calcium fluoroapatite with the chemical formula Ca5PO4 3 and then F. So calcium fluoroapatite is chemically stable than calcium hydroxyapatite in acid environment of the mouth. This means that a higher concentration of calcium fluoroapatite in tooth enamel decreases tooth resolution and therefore can decrease the incidence of tooth decay. Now, after Lathyrism, fluorosis, we will go on to Lathyrism. So, this much is sufficient. In fact, fluorosis as such, I would like to is basically an ecological problem to solve which so many other components have to be addressed to. that is crops, the type of crops that are grown in fluoride affected areas. You can't do much about geological strata anyway. So you have to change yourself and your environment in such a manner that people are prevented from, especially the worst forms of fluorosis, what we call skeletal fluorosis. And another point is community fluorosis index, which I have outlined here in this lecture. That is a must know for every undergraduate. You remember this point. Lathyrism, a neurodegenerative disorder, limping, 2-footed, and walking with stick, 3-footed, crawling, 4-footed. So Lathyrism, Kesari though, seeds of Lathyrus sativus, black dog, Matra, Tira dog, Gharas, Matra, in several places in Uttar Pradesh and in Madhya Pradesh, this consumption is very high, this Lathyrism, Kesari dal, and it is used as a substitute to the routine dal which we use, red gram and green gram dal which we use in our food. So toxin, and this Kesari dal consists of a toxin, beta oxalyl aminoalanine. And then the main problem is human lathyrism and the spastic paralysis of the lower limbs. You can see the Lathyrus sativus plant also in the diagram. And the animals, osteolathyrism or odolathyrism cannot. Lathyrism, MP, I have told you, Rewa and Satna districts. UP, Bihar, Orissa, West Bengal, Maharashtra, Rajasthan and Assam. So this is, you can see how the Kesari dal looks like. 15 to 45 years of age group, and it is a water soluble toxin. BOAA is a water soluble toxin. So first thing is latent stage, the second is no stick stage, and then 1 stick stage, 2 stick stage and crawler stage. These are the different clinical manifestations. So interventions, vitamin C prophylaxis 500 to 1000 milligrams per day, 7 days, and then banning the crops, that is banning the very crop itself, and removal of the toxin. Even if you ban also, that no much positive result will come out of it. What we have to do is go for removal of the toxin, or otherwise try to encourage the alternate crops, that is red gram dal. So removal of toxins, sticking method and parboiling method, and then health education, and then you can introduce genetically modified low toxin strains of Lathyris sativus. This is another option available. So socio-economic improvement, of course, this goes without saying. Thank you. So up till now, still 15 minutes time is left out. So I would like to utilize this time for teaching, for touching upon obesity. Till now we have been talking principally about problems of undernutrition. And now this is obesity is an emerging problem. It is a problem of overnutrition, and this obesity is behind Sorry. Again, I think I lost some. So, obesity now is an emerging health problem, especially in the affluent and middle class sections of the society. And as you know, these are all Western babies and Western children who are obese. It is not only the problem of Western countries, but also in our country. And obesity definition is a condition of abnormal growth of adipose tissue. It is mainly due to enlargement of fat cell size, that is a hypertrophic obesity, or increase in number of fat cells. This point you have to remember lifelong. So a person may be having a hypertrophic obesity, that is due to enlargement of fat cell size, or increase in the number of fat cells, that is hyperplastic. So you can, to some extent, you can address the problem of hypertrophic obesity. That is by curtailing the excess intake of fat. But once this hyperplastic obesity occurs, it will be very, very difficult to reverse it. So obesity worldwide, 2.1 billion, that is nearly 30% of the world's population are obese. And rise in overweight and obesity 36.9% to 38% in 1 year. Countries with the most obese people: United States, China, India, Russia and Brazil. So temporal changes in the prevalence. So urban Indian population, you can see gradually, both in men as well as in women. But in women it is still more marked. Temporal changes in the prevalence of obesity. You can see this. Red is women and bluish green is men. Now, distribution of obesity in India. You can see this: Punjab, Kerala, Goa, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh. At best, these are the states where obesity is present to a reasonably high degree. And now, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Manipur, all these states, obesity wise they are lowly ranked. And you can also see, again here red line is female and blue line is male. So this red line again is on the higher side and the blue line is on the lower side. So obesity is more common in women than in men. So pattern again within the females, you can see the pattern of obesity, rural and urban. So in the urban areas it is very high, whereas within the women I am talking about, and within in the rural areas it is relatively low. And now, interrelationship of obesity with the marital status and parity status. So you can see again here unmarried and then married. So after marriage, unmarried people, usually there is no obesity. So, and after marrying, amongst the married people, this parity status, nulliparous at a lower level, para 1 almost double, and the para 2 more than double. So, now you can very easily understand why obesity is more common in female than in male. Obesity, according to socio-demographic concerns. So age-wise, so 20 to 30 it is less, Now childhood obesity especially is on the rise both in Kerala and Punjab. You should take that also into cognizance. And then 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and then 40 to 50, as the age advances, prevalence of obesity percentage goes up. So this is age specific obesity rate in a way. And then socio-economic status wise, class 1, class 2, class 3, this class 1, class 2, class 3, I don't want to deviate from the lecture topic per se. So just class 1 is well off, middle class, and then poor. You remember like that. And emerging problem reaching epidemic proportions. A big health problem which affects not only childhood but also causes problems in the adulthood. Between 3 to 7% of the total health costs can be attributed to overweight, and it is prevalent not only in developed but also in developing countries. The 3 to 7% of total health care is obesity and its complications. Obesity is connected with ischemic heart disease, diabetes, hypertension. These are all chronic diseases. As a result, so in order to keep them under control, the individuals, institutions and the government has to incur a lot of expenditure. So that is why between 3 to 7% of the total healthcare costs can be attributed to overweight. It is prevalent not only in developed but also in developing countries that I have already told. So pathogenesis. So here what happens if they in three aspects are there. There is a genetic aspect, what we call as thrifty genotype, and then sedentary lifestyle and good high calorie food. All three. Sedentary, don't think that fellow is overeating. That's the reason why. So now we will look into the measurement of obesity. The thrifty gene hypothesis and all those things. I think we will be talking about it in the next class probably, or probably even in this class. So fat cannot be measured. It is very difficult to measure fat. Not that we cannot measure, but you have to take recourse to rarely available and expensive investigations such as underwater weighing of the body, or otherwise DEXA, an investigation, double X-ray absorptiometry. So these are very expensive studies. So fat cannot be measured in all cases. The best way to measure obesity is, simplest way, cheapest way is calculate the body mass index in adults. So underweight less than 18.5 body mass index. What is body mass index? Weight by height in meters square, that is body mass index. So underweight less than 18.5, that index, if it is in an individual is less than 18.5, then the individual is underweight. Otherwise healthy weight is 18.5 to 24.9 or 25. And then overweight is 25 to, in fact in Indian conditions, Indian Council of Medical Research has set this healthy weight level to 22 only. It is because we Indians are very much prone to obesity. That's why the level is set at low level. And then overweight. So 25 to 29, say 22 to 29. And then obesity is 30 to 34.9. And obesity high grade. And then very high is 35 to 39.9. And then extreme obesity are what we call as morbid obesity, that is above 40. Measurement of obesity based on body weight. There are several measurements for obesity. One is Quetelet's index, that is body mass index, weight in kg divided by height in meters square. And then Broca's index, height centimeters minus 100. So height in centimeters minus 100. It gives his ideal weight, a person's ideal weight. And so from that you can say whether that person is obese or not. And then ponderal index, there is another thing. So these indices you should remember. This will be of lifelong use for you. So ponderal index, height centimeters divided by cube root of body weight. Height in centimeters divided by cube root of body weight. So this is called as ponderal index. And then corpulence index. So actual weight divided by desirable weight, that is value obtained should not exceed 1.2. So measurement of obesity, anthropometric. So how do you measure the skin fold thickness? One is measurement of skin fold thickness. This I about think of for the skin fold thickness and all those things in the next class. That is about nutritional surveillance. Next topic I will be covering. So skin fold thickness. Thickness of skin fold over four sides with mid, triceps, biceps, subscapular and supra-iliac regions. It has to be done that what we call, but with a prescribed calipers, what we call as Havertons skin fold thickness calipers. The sum of measurement of obtained should be below 40 millimeters in boys and 50 millimeters in girls. So WHO recommends use of a caliper such as appendix caliper, just I have told. And then waist circumference and waist hip ratio. With a waist circumference above 102 centimeters in men and above 88 centimeters in women is attended with the risk of complications also. And now waist hip ratio, WHR above 1 in men and above 0.85 in women indicates abnormal accumulation of fat in the abdomen. So measurement of obesity. But in children, age and gender reference charts of BMI are available because just now I have told you, childhood obesity is in emerging. Obesity itself is an emerging health problem in our country, and childhood obesity more so, because prevention of obesity in the childhood itself is very convenient. Because see, so BMI above 85 percentile overweight and BMI above 95 percentile plus 2SD is obese. In children below 2 years, weight for length charts are used. Other methods to measure obesity are skin fold thickness, just now I have told, that's over. I have already covered. So these are the certain kinds of charts just to give you an idea. I am focusing there. Do obese children grow into obese adults? Tracking occurs throughout life. 10 to 20% of obese infants, they become obese. And 40% of obese children, they turn obese adults. 60 to 80% of obese adolescents. So, your target should be obese children, obese adolescents first, and then obese children next, and then of course obese infants. This little we can do about obese infants, but they should be stopped at their children's level. They should fall into the other 60%, not in this 40% who grow up into obese adults. The types of obesity: android obesity or central obesity. Fat accumulates in the upper segment and the body is having an apple-shaped distribution. More likely to develop related disorders such as NIDDM, hypertension, etc. Unfortunately, this central obesity or android obesity is more common in Indians. And now gynecoid obesity, more subcutaneous fat accumulates over thighs and lower segment, pear shape. The person becomes pear shape. So, otherwise in anti-obesity, the person is apple shape. See. So this is apple and this is pear shape. You can see this. Apple versus pear. Now, I think I will stop here. Still there is 5 minutes left. But it will be convenient for me if we divide here, if we stop here and then cover the remaining things in the next class. So thank you. Thank you very much.